from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased joining me from the US on the West Coast, Rajeev Kapur, President and CEO of I'm not sure how I'm going to pronounce this, but it's like 1105 Media. Is that right, Rajeev? So the way I like to do it. So I like to let you do the introduction, tell us a bit about yourself and about your company, and then we can take the discussion from there.
Yeah, it's called 1105 Media. And 1105 Media is a B2B marketing, media, events, and technology services company. And we're probably one of the largest here in the US doing what we do. So essentially our main job, to put it easy for everybody to understand, is we connect buyers with sellers of technology product. So that's what we do. So we're kind of a middleman in that space. And so we have about 65 brands that do that. And, you know, we have amazing content and it's all focused on B2B. There's no consumer focused media. It's all B2B media. And we focus on the Microsoft stack of products. We focus on cloud, AI, big data, analytics, cybersecurity. And so what we do then is we create this kind of media space for it, event space for it, and then we go out and get leads and sponsors, and so we make money. It does pretty well.
Cool. Little bit about your background, Rajeev. Like I know, like you have worked, multiple places in different countries. So what brought you to this space, I would say?
Good question. So, a little bit about my background, right? So I'm a lot older than I look. So I'm 57, and back in the early 90s, I was in the PC industry, and I was at a PC company, and then after that, I got recruited to Dell, and I started essentially was one of Michael Dell's first executive assistants. That was pretty awesome back in the early 90s. And then from there, just kind of kept working my way up the ladder at Dell, and eventually was in Asia for Dell and ran South Asia for Dell and helped to launch Dell India for a domestic consumption perspective, and just living in Singapore and living in Hong Kong and parts of China, and just a lot of fun, great experiences and all that. And then from there, I got recruited to become president of an e-commerce company here in Southern California. And then after that, went to a venture-backed startup in the AI audio space. So kind of doing AI before AI was popular. And so did that, and that company eventually sold in Europe. And then I was sitting around after that company sold for about a month or so. And I'm a member of this organization called YPO, which I'm sure you've heard of, the Young Presidents Organization. I'm not young anymore, but I joined it when I was young. And so I was sitting around, and there's a member of the board, who's a good friend of mine, and he called me up and said, "Hey, we really need to make some changes here, and we've got some new private equity money here, and so we just really need some help in turning around this business. Are you interested?" And I said, "Oh, I just decided to take a little bit of a break." He goes, "Well, the good news is they have an office 5 minutes from your house." I said, "Oh, okay." So then I talked to the guys, and it all worked out. And so now I've been here, and so I've been doing this now for about last 10 years, and it's been a fun, bumpy ride. We turned it around, and right when things were going really, really good, COVID hit. And so then we took a big decline during COVID, right? So now we're building back up from post COVID. But it's a fun thing. It's a fun ride.
Cool. Rajiv, you mentioned AI a lot, and I know, we're going to focus a little bit about AI. With all the experience that also you have carried over the years, so, and to your point, like AI, people now talks about AI, especially after, the Gen AI came, like I think it's now 2 years, right? Since they released ChatGPT in this mass way. But if we think about it from, adoption and the real implementation strategy, right? So do you think that, businesses really adopted this AI in the right, proper way that they should do? And what do you think, like the most, critical ripe, if I can call it, for AI transformation for traditional businesses?
Yeah, Mehmet, I'll tell you, to answer your question, I think the answer is no, they're not. They're not implementing it the right way. And that's fine. I mean, to many of them, it's still very new. It's like when the internet first came out, people didn't know what to do. And so it's fine. The 2-year anniversary of ChatGPT coming out is coming up on November 30th. But keep in mind, there's two kinds of AI. There's machine learning AI, which we're all very familiar with, but even though we probably don't realize we're familiar with. And then you have your generative AI, which is the ChatGPT stuff. So forget about the ChatGPT stuff for just a minute. And let's just talk about machine learning AI. And so one of the things about machine learning AI that we're all kind of familiar with is, my friend, do you have a Netflix account?
Yeah,
So do you have an Amazon account?
of course.
Okay. Well, when you watch a show on Netflix, what happens after you're done watching that show? It says, do you like this show? Give it a thumbs up or give it a thumbs down, right? Why is it doing that? It's doing that because it wants your feedback. It understands you watch the show. It understands how many minutes you put into the show. But now it wants to know if you like the show. Because once it knows you like that show, it's going to use AI now, machine learning AI, to say, oh, Mehmet and Rajeev both like this show. So we're going to make sure that we now push them content that kind of similar to this show. That's
Right.
using AI. That's using AI. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're watching, the next time you're on Netflix and it says, oh, because you watch this show, we recommend this show. That's AI. And so it's machine learning AI, but it's AI. And so that stuff companies are doing and people are familiar with because they're doing it already in their day-to-day life. They just don't realize it. The second one, Amazon. You bought this product, we recommend this product, right? That's AI, right? It knows your habits. It's learning your habits based on your input. So that's machine learning AI. And so that type of stuff exists today, as long as you have great data. Just sticking with Amazon. So Amazon, and people can go Google and find this, is they're changing the way their delivery drivers now deliver packages. And the reason why they're doing that is they found, because they have all the data now, and you need data to do really well with AI. If you don't have good data, you're going to fail miserably. So if you're listening, ask yourself, does my company, do I as the CEO, or I as the founder of the company, I as a CTO, do I have good command of my data? Amazon has great command of their data. Because they have great command of their data, they can now go and say, okay, we know how to deliver packages. We probably are the largest delivery company in the world, and we know what routes we can maximize. And they can now take machine learning AI, apply it and say, maximize this driver's route. And if they do that, they can do it to save gas, save time, save energy, whatever the case might be, or save electricity, because a lot of them are electric powered, their delivery gas. But if they can even save an hour a day of delivery time, right? Take that, they estimate that could be a $1.5 billion benefit to their bottom line over the coming years. Now you take that and you take that multiple of value of what $1.5 billion is to Amazon, the value that can bring to $1 trillion company like Amazon is billions of dollars of valuation just by that one simple act of using machine learning AI, right? So that's machine learning AI. So then you have ChatGPT, Claude by Anthropic, Midjourney, Adobe's Fireflies, Gemini by Google. So you have all Copilot through Microsoft. So you have all these different LLMs or large language models that are basically either based on ChatGPT or mimic ChatGPT or whatever the case might be. That's new. And a lot of people don't understand realize how to now deploy that within the company and that within the business. And that is where I think a lot of people are falling down. And a lot of people are afraid to do it because they're worried about different things. And they should be somewhat worried if they don't have good processes, don't have good data. But if you have good processes, you have good data, you should think about how you can start implementing this within your organization. So those are the two different things. So those are the two different pieces. And ChatGPT uses generative AI, and generative AI does not learn based on our inputs like machine learning does. And so it learns by learning everything, all the inputs that are already available on the web. And that's what makes it a little bit different. So that's why when you hear people say it's the greatest invention since the invention of electricity, I highly believe that. It's going to change the world because it's essentially the most advanced tool that man has ever created.
Right. Now, talking about this, and every time in human history where we have this kind of breakthrough in technology, so we have the people who would say, okay, we got it, but sometimes they say, okay, this is maybe, for example, we are too small for this, or for example, they would say, we are not ready yet. So, but they are taking a risk where their business might be wiped out, right, in a while. So, what should be our answer to these folks?
Well, look, I mean, ask yourself, if your business never adopted the internet, where would your business be today?
Right.
You couldn't exist. Like we're doing this on the internet through StreamYard. If we didn't have the internet platform, could you do what you do? Now, yeah, you could call me on the phone or whatever in a physical landline, but it wouldn't have the same impact, right? Your ability to record it and all those things are gonna be difficult, whatever the case may be, right? So it's almost like if you're the CEO back in 1995 when this internet thing came out, just like, by the way, many of them did. Many CEOs back in 95, 96 did say, what is this internet thing? This is wrong. It's bad. This is useless. No one's ever doing it. Who's ever going to buy a book on Amazon and spend $6 for a book and spend $5 for shipping, right? What did people say? What did CEOs say? Oh, this is dumb. This internet thing is a fad. It's not going to work. No one's ever going to buy anything online. Clothes, people want to come in and put on the clothes and try them on and whatever, right? Think about it. When 95, 96 was there, when the internet first started rolling out, there was no social media. There was no mobile revolution. There was there was no e-commerce. E-commerce didn't really develop for a couple of years. And so the same thing is true here. If you ignore AI, remember this, like I said, there's two kinds of AI. Sure, you can be slow to adopt ChatGPT like AI, the generative AI models. Sure, be slow. You need to adopt it, but be slow, take your time. But you can do the machine learning stuff today.
Right.
Machine learning AI stuff is available right now. You can do that right now if you have good command of your data. Look, data is the new oil. And what's missing is the refinery sitting on top of that oil, right? And you're in Dubai, so you know that analogy pretty well. And so data is going to be the new oil. And so that's what's going to be key. It's how now you can take that data and make it say something. So that's low-hanging fruit that you can look at doing it now. So ask yourself, do I have good command of my data? Do I understand my data? Because the challenge with machine learning AI is going to be garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
So you want to make sure you have great command of your data and you have someone really good at being able to analyze your data to help you decide what it tells you. So that's number one. But I'll tell you, if you decide to walk away from AI completely in your business, you will be out of business in the next 3 to 5 years, completely, 100% guaranteed. So you have to do this. You cannot be afraid. Think about, there used to be a company here, a bookstore here in the US called Borders Books. I don't know if they had them in the Middle East. So Borders Books was there's a big chain here called Barnes and Noble. And and so Borders competed with Barnes and Noble. And the CEO of Borders said, this internet thing is a fad. People are not going to buy anything online. They want to come into the bookstore. They want instant gratification. They want to walk in, buy the book, go home, start reading it immediately. Right. And so he said, we're not going to do e-commerce. We're going to open up more stores.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 years later, Amazon exploded. All these other e-commerce exploded. Their store traffic declined dramatically. And you know what he did? He called Jeff Bezos and said, hey, can you help us with our e-commerce? Their biggest, and Amazon is now their biggest competitor. And Jeff Bezos said, yeah. So Jeff Bezos came in, they helped them with their shopping cart, told them what to do, and ended up putting them out of business. Right. So again, so that's what's going to happen to you. You think about Netflix. Netflix used to be a DVD rental, right? Where you ordered the DVDs through the mail.
Right.
Right. And so had they not pivoted, who knows what could have happened, right? Think about Blockbuster Video. They never pivoted when they had a chance to buy Netflix for whatever, $1 billion. But they never did. So you can ignore this. It's a free society. Do what you want to do. And if
Right.
you're listening to this, you are welcome to ignore this. You can listen to Rajeev and say, Rajeev, you're an idiot. You're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. By all means, I've been called worse. Ignore me if you want. But I'm telling you, ignore me at your own peril. You will be out of business if you don't start to adopt this.
Absolutely. Rajiv, now some people who might be listening to us say, okay, Rajiv, you are right, 100%, right? I understand. I have to adapt. But my staff, my workforce are not ready. And there's a lot of, you know, unlearning and relearning in the skill set that I need to be, doing currently. So what do you think really, Rajiv, are especially in the workforce perspective? And COVID changed already a lot of things because, it brought this flexibility, hybrid work, and so on. So now the AI came just right after it. It's not like it's been a long time since we came out of the pandemic. So now I think, and, here I need your opinion on this. What should we be actually doing with the workforce from, empowering them with this skill of using the AI?
Look, again, first and foremost is start with the machine learning side of AI. Make sure that you have great data. Challenge your team to go through your first party data, make sure you understand great data, start looking at how to build machine learning algorithms around your data. Number one. So that's low-hanging fruit. That's available to you. You can do that right now. Okay, now let's put that one aside. Now let's talk about the real question, the real elephant in the room. It's you're really asking me about ChatGPT and LLMs. So let's talk about that for a minute. So
Sure.
when I launched, so when ChatGPT came out, I immediately that morning sent a text to my entire management team. I told them, this is going to change the world. Get on it now. We could be covering this in our business. And we started thinking how to adopt this in our business immediately today, literally on November 30th, 2 years ago. And the response was, you're crazy. This is ridiculous. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. This is blah, blah, blah. Now, they didn't use those words, but you could tell the tone of the text messages that were coming back, right? And so it reminded me of a time back in 95, 96, when I was working for Michael Dell, and he said, go figure out how to sell computers on this thing called the internet. We thought he was crazy. And so, lo and behold, I was right. And so what did we started to do immediately within about a week or so of ChatGPT coming out? I did a couple of things. Number one is I took one of my senior technology people and I put her kind of our quote unquote internal head of AI, so to speak. Okay. And her responsibility was to start training our entire company on ChatGPT. And at the time, it was the free version. There was no paid version at the time.
Right.
So what is it? How to use it? And so I challenged her, myself. I took another person who was our CTO. And so the three of us started learning ChatGPT in detail, how to use it, what was prompting. We started reading all we could about it. And then from there, after a couple of weeks, we started training our staff. It started with the C-suite. Now, this has to start at the C-suite. Your C-suite has to buy in. If your C-suite is not willing to buy in, if there's anybody in your C-suite that does not want to buy in to AI and ChatGPT and generative intelligence or any kind of AI, fire them immediately and replace them with people that do. You will be better for it long term. Short term, it might cause you a little bit of pain, but long term, you will be much better for it. So first thing you do is you start training your C-suite and you start building a strategy around how to implement it within your business. But it has to start at the top, and it can't be bottoms up. It has to be top down and implemented into the organization. Number one. So start with your C-suite. Take 3 to 4 months, train them on everything. The good news is that now there's a paid version. And by the way, the enterprise, the team's version of ChatGPT, you have no privacy concerns. They don't use your data to train. It's $25 a month versus the regular version is $20. The regular paid version is $20 a month. They do use your data to train. So if you're paying $25, now you can get the enterprise version, which is the super advanced version that's only like right now limited to large corporations. That's going to cost probably millions of dollars to do. Okay. So you definitely want to get the Teams version. You want to look at maybe getting Microsoft Copilot for the rest of the company. Talk to your Microsoft rep about that. But you definitely want to start training people and start simple. To me, you want to break up the training into 3 segments: personal, family, business. Now, why do I talk about personal and family? So what I find, and when I'm doing my training, and by the way, this is what I do, right? So I have my own AI advising company. I do this. I speak to I speak to companies all day long and advising them on AI. It was the best selling AI book on Amazon called AI Made Simple. And it was designed for that person in the C-suite who is scared, who wants something simple to understand, like what is it, how to use it. So I have that book out there so people can get that book if they want to just start doing some sort of reading to understand it. But what you do is you just start training the C-suite. You start identifying first how to use this for personal use. The more people start using it for their personal use, the more they start using it in business. The more they can understand and realize they can use ChatGPT to plan a vacation or whatever the case might be, the more they start using it in their business use. And then from there, you get into how to start using it for business. Now, I'm not going to get into all the advanced tools it has right now, but I'm telling you, it is an amazing brainstorming partner. Just do that. And the key to be successful with ChatGPT is just the prompt, that little window at the bottom. When you open up ChatGPT, that little bar at the bottom, where you type in what you want to type in. Remember, it's not a search engine yet. They're testing search features, but it's really not a search engine to replace Google yet. But you definitely want to type in words of what you're looking for. Use your brain, be a storyteller in that little window, in that little rectangle box. Tell people what it is. Tell ChatGPT what is it you need help with. Give it the situation, give it a scenario, and ask it for help. And don't pretend you're talking to an algorithm or a machine. Pretend you're talking to another person. As a matter of fact, if you want to make it easier for you, give ChatGPT its own persona. So what I mean by that is you can tell ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to pretend you're Steve Jobs, or I need you to pretend you're Barack Obama, or I need you to whatever, right? Whatever you want it to be. And I need your help to solve this issue, or I need your help to brainstorm a new product. Or I need you to, be Mehmet and teach me how to launch my own podcast. Or I want you to be Rajeev Kapur and teach me how to now train my team. And it'll give you step by step on what to do. And now you follow it. So normally you would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to consultants for this work that you can now do in 30 seconds. So why would you listen to the consultant and not listen to ChatGPT that's been essentially trained on everything on the internet to help you be successful?
Absolutely. For me, like I would say, I hired the most affordable personal assistant ever when for ChatGPT because to your point, I do this a lot, especially what you mentioned about like giving the persona, hey, like act as your most professional analyst in this field, and this is for example the scenario I have in front of me, and tell me like, okay, how would you evaluate, for example, this scenario, and what are the recommendations that you give? And the more details you give, it surprised me every time, by the way, which is really amazing. Like, it's something I've never seen also before. Like I'm not as as experienced as you, Rajiv, but for me, like this was a game changer from day one when I saw it. Now, do you think, Rajiv, there are like any businesses which are in danger, and probably maybe better for them now to say, hey guys, we need to pivot, we need to go and start to think we should do something else, or we need to add additional services, products, because as you said, 3 years from now we're gonna become obsolete. So what are like the main businesses you see they are under the radar when it comes to I would not call it danger, but okay, AI will replace what they are doing currently.
Yeah, I look, a couple of things there on that front. Number one is when the internet first came out, nobody knew there was going to be an Amazon. Nobody knew there would be a PayPal. Nobody knew that there would be eventually be, you know, an iPhone, or what I mean, or Airbnb or Uber or whatever, right? So my point there with that statement is that nobody knows what new industries are coming. Nobody
Mhm.
right now there's hundreds of billions of dollars being invested into new startups, new companies, new opportunities, new things, and it's still young, and we're still probably a year or two away from a couple years away from those companies really maturing and really providing value to the rest of us normal people. Okay, so we still got some time. So now, what industries I think are going to be the most affected? I think any sort of language based industries where that is, and what I mean by that is, think of lawyers. I think the
Mhm.
legal industry is in for a lot of turmoil, because every single court case in the world over time is going to be part of ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whatever the case might be, right? Every legal doctrine in the world will be there as well. And yes, there were some issues a year and a half ago with ChatGPT and these tools not providing great legal advice, but that was a year and a half ago. This thing evolves. In the next 5 years, just think about this. By end of next year, the folks at OpenAI are saying ChatGPT is going to have a PhD level of intelligence. In the next 5 years, let's say let's just be, by 2030, it's going to be 10 trillion times smarter than it is today. 10 trillion times smarter. So think about that. So if you are a lawyer, you need to be worried. If you have a business that's doing translation, you need to be worried. If you have an outsourcing business, a BPO outsourcing business, you need to be worried. If you have a business that relies solely on consulting, you need to be worried, right? So it's those kinds of businesses that I think short term are the ones you're going to see the most potential impact. But the good news is you have time. All those whoever there, they have time. I think the healthcare industry is also going to go through some turmoil and change as well. So I think the automotive industry, with the development of smart cars that have AI enabled, that the cars can talk to each other, I think that's going to be an amazing transformation, and that will reduce the number of car accidents we have because the AI cars will talk to each other and prevent car accidents, and that will reduce the number of people going to the emergency room. I think learning the way we learn is going to change. I think the way kids learn is going to change. I think Hollywood and Bollywood and all these different places, they're all going to face some sort of challenge as well, because you and I could, in 2 or 3 years, we can go create our own movie using AI, right? So to me, it's going to be those kinds of things. So there's probably many other industries that have some impact, but at the same time, think about all the industries that got impacted when the internet first came out, and then all the new industries that were born. So there's going to be new industries that are going to be born. I think instead of jobs, this massive job loss in the whole thing disappearing. Now, I'm not saying that the legal profession is going to go away. I just say it's going to have impact. It's going to have a major impact. So if you're a law firm right now, and if you have, for example, 100 paralegals, in the future, you might need only 10. Right. And so it doesn't mean that your law firm is going to go away. You still need interpretation of the law, right? You still need those things, and you still need to be able to go in court and argue your case, whatever the case might be. But you just may not need as many support in the organization to do that. You can still charge as you want to charge, but if anything, it could actually benefit your bottom line because you may not need as many people to do the job as you needed before.
Rajeev, one thing that last year I was hearing it more than this year. So one of the resistance area, I would say, when it comes to AI, saying, okay, but we're going to lose the human touch, right? So it's going to be like dealing with a machine, and, machine will never have like feelings, and, it's like always, and they say it's called artificial intelligence, so it's all artificial. So what's your point of view on this?
Look, I kind of take a page out of Apple's book. Apple doesn't call it artificial intelligence; they call it Apple intelligence, so AI intelligence, right? So, look, I think AI suffers from a branding problem, right? People hear artificial, they think it's fake, right? It's just like how people think wrestling is fake, or whatever the case might be, right? But what I'm here to say is that this is not about artificial intelligence. This is about augmenting intelligence, enhancing intelligence. This is about being able to have not living, but you know what I mean, right? But have an assistant that literally can be with you 24/7, 365, that can help you with any situation that you deal with in your life, be it a personal issue, a family issue, or a business issue. Imagine that. Imagine if you have a problem and you can ask Steve Jobs for help. Imagine if you have a medical problem and you can ask the absolute best doctor who's trained in that field to help you with that problem. Imagine you are having a mental health issue and you need ChatGPT can become your therapist, and you can literally have a full two-way conversation with ChatGPT. In fact, I have a friend of mine who actually does that. every morning in his car when he drives to work, well, not every morning, but almost every morning, he will sit there and instead of listening to the radio or listening to music, he will now have a full two-way conversation with ChatGPT, where
Wow.
ChatGPT acts as his therapist. And they
That's
have a
fun.
full back and forth two-way conversation. So it's things like that. So look, there's no silver bullet yet. And I don't think there's going to be like this one silver bullet. I think there's going to be many, many little bullets that are going to provide value across the entire human race.
Now, it's not like because I want to go this direction, but I'm kind of sometimes think about it, you know, from a philosophy approach as well. So if we get, to this abundant source of knowledge about everything, right? So probably it's gonna help us in many things. And the question that I asked a lot last year, and I keep asking people like yourself, Rajiv. So, are we reaching a phase where even the concept of work altogether and job altogether will change in a sense that we're going to do something more meaningful in our lives and, let's call it intelligence, not the artificial, would help us, like, even like, you know, getting us the income that we need to survive on and maybe even to be kind of a wealthy person, and then we will be as a human become kind of just supervise these intelligences, or I like to call them agents, because I'm a big believer in these agents talking to each other, and you just mentioned the car example. So if you want to go a little bit philosophical on this aspect, like how do you see us in I would say, I don't know if 10 years, 5 years, I'm not sure when this will happen, in the future, let's call it in the future.
Yeah. So look, the only thing that's going to prevent you from doing anything you want to do in your life is your own imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So look, you're going to be limited by your imagination. You can do and accomplish anything you want to accomplish with AI. And if you focus on the augmenting intelligence side and not the artificial intelligence side, it's going to make it easier for you mentally. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, if it doesn't matter if you're struggling to make ends meet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a single mom or a single dad and you've got kids and you have to work all the time. As long as you have a smartphone, you have access to this technology. And it doesn't matter if you're in a village in Africa or a village in India, or you are in a remote part of China, you have access to a smartphone. You have access to this technology. And anybody could do it. You want to learn a language, it'll help you. You want to learn how to play an instrument, it will help you. You want to learn how to bake a cake that you've never baked before, it will help you. You want to learn how to train for a triathlon, it will tell you how to train for a triathlon. So whatever goal you want to achieve in your life, it will help you achieve it. You want to start a new business, it will help you figure out how to start that business. You want to learn how to have a better relationship, it'll walk you through what the experts tell you and give you the best advice possible on how to have better relationships. So you're only going to be limited by your own imagination. That's it. Period. If you want to start, for example, you're in Dubai, I'm in Southern California, I'm about 35 miles south of Los Angeles, and we have different climates. Well, if you wanted to start a garden in Dubai and I wanted to start a garden here, the type of plants you need are probably a little bit different.
Right.
Well, guess what? You can go on ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to create a beautiful garden. This is where I live, and it gets to be really hot in the summer. What should I do? What are the best plants? Blah, blah, blah. And it'll tell you exactly what to do and how to do it, and where to go, where to do it, so you're only limited by your own imagination. That's it. So be imaginative, have fun, use these for fun, because it will be fun. Become an expert. Just like the internet changed the way you live and work, this will change the way you live and work. That's it. So don't be afraid. Start. There's a free version. Don't have to pay for it. Don't pay the $20, the $20 US a month to do this. It's free. Just start. Get the free version and start playing with it. It's easy.
And the free version is good enough,
Yeah, for most people, it's good enough.
Yeah, so the only reason I updated myself because I use it very extensively, and of course I don't want the limits, and I want to have the early access, just like and okay, like it's $20 as you said. So I know like we're coming to an end, but really something also which I want you, Rajiv, to little bit, get your 2 cents on it. Are we also seeing more collaboration between us as humans and this intelligent in the workplace, in a sense that now, so we start to see this in coding, right? So we start to see, the co-pilot in coding, co-pilot in this. So how you envision this also collaboration between us humans, because we are also the ones who created this AI thing, right? So how you imagine this? Let's say the year is now 2034, 10 years from now. So w- how do you imagine, a workplace to be like?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think you're going to have. I think you're going to have assistants. Everybody's going to have a super intelligent system that's part of their workforce, as part of their workday. Everybody can have their own. Have you seen those Avengers movies? With Iron
Yeah.
Man and
Yeah.
the Iron Man. So Iron Man has a super AI called Jarvis. Remember, right? Everybody will have their own Jarvis.
Yeah.
Right? And so you will be. I think the way you interact with your technology will be very verbalized. I think things will be much more three-dimensional. I think things will be much more holographic in nature. I think things are going to be a lot more interactive in nature. I think you're going to have a world where you can just talk to your AI in the morning, get up and say, "Hello, Rajeev. Please walk me through my calendar today. Oh, you do this. Oh, I'm supposed to talk to Mehmet today on his podcast. Something's come up. Please reach out to him and reschedule for me." And then while I'm getting ready, while I'm brushing my teeth, even if I'm in the shower or while I'm making my breakfast or whatever, I can literally be having these conversations. Oh, what's the deadline for the project today? Oh, today you have to deliver X, Y, and Z. Okay, how are we doing on
Mhm.
that? Oh, you still need to do this. Okay. Walk me through the code that we have for this new product. Here's the code. Hmm. I'm noticing there's a little bit of an issue here. What's that issue? Oh, here's the issue. How do we fix it? Oh, you know what I mean? So my point is, I think it's gonna be a lot. I think people who are really good at communication are gonna find it a lot easier to work with. But it's just going to be a different way of interacting right now. But when the internet first came out, when PCs first hit, people started interacting through keyboards and mice, right?
Right.
And so now there's going to be, I think, a much more visual and audio way of learning in terms of how to interact with the technology. And I think it's going to be work from anywhere, just like it is somewhat now with Zoom and these kinds of things. And I think the tools are going to be so powerful that it's going to really free up human imagination. And sure, do I think it's going to look like a 40-hour work week? Probably not. It might drop down a little bit. But I think the other thing here is I think what governments around the world are going to have to grapple with is that in 10 years, if now because of AI, people can live longer, or if people's workload is getting done faster, what is that going to look like? Are we going to be dominated by 10 companies globally who are going to control most of everything, right? Who knows what it's
Mhm.
going to be like, right? Is it going to be Apple and Nvidia and LVMH or whatever it is, or is it going to be the 10, 15, 20 big, Teslas or whatever are going to be the biggest companies in the world? Are they going to dominate the entire world and say, okay, here are the tools, here are the tools I have to work through their tools, who knows? But I think there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for people to carve out their niches. There's a lot of opportunities for people to take advantage. There's a lot of opportunity for success. It's early. It's very early in the game. This is if you're a soccer fan or a football fan, I guess, and probably more to your listeners, is that this is literally the whistle just blew on the pitch and the first pass has just happened. That's what really we are in this game.
Mhm. Absolutely. By the way, just for the audience, Google, they have a project called Project Jarvis, right? So it was reported last month they are working on it, which is the agent thing that I just mentioned, which is exactly what Rajiv described. So you have an agent that goes and do the job for you, and if it has to go and talk to another agent, it will do that also as well. Rajiv, really, I enjoyed the discussion. We could have done hours, I would say, because it's a very interesting, and I urge everyone to go and learn how to use AI, really. Before I let you go, Rajiv, just tell us where we can find more about you and get in touch.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation. Just a reminder that if you want to, people want to get started, my book is awesome. It does really well. It's for beginners. It's called AI Made Simple. Please check it out. There's a second edition available, so make sure you get the second edition. It's a little bit more updated. And so there's that. People can connect with me on LinkedIn. You've got my name here. And then just make sure there's quite a few Rajeev Kapurs on LinkedIn. So just find the right one. You'll probably see my book on the banner up there. So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. People connect with me on Instagram at the Rajeev Kapur on Instagram. And that's really it. I speak all over the world. So if anybody is looking for a keynote speaker or want me to come and speak to their company, help advise their company, please feel free to reach out to me. In the show notes. You can put my email address, also my email. You can email me to requestrajeev@gmail.com. And then my own personal website is rajeev.ai. So check out rajeev.ai, and you can also get in touch with me there.
Great. You made my last part of the job easy because you said it will be in the show notes. So this is what I said. I tell people every time. You don't have to just rewind and go and write down. So I will make the life easy. You will find all the links, including Rajeev's LinkedIn profile, Instagram profile, and the email, the website. You'll find them in the show notes. If you are listening to us on any of your favorite podcasting applications, you can find them in the description on YouTube also as well. Rajeev, thank you very much again. I really appreciate it. And this is the note for the audience. If you just discovered us by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed. If you did so, as Rajeev was explaining about the Amazon and the Netflix, give us a thumb up and share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you are one of the people who keeps coming, thank you for doing so. I really appreciate all your support and all your comments and suggestions. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll meet again very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.